Episode 151 of Five Drinks to Midnight. In the show, we bring the questions, guests bring the drinks. We try to wrap up before midnight. Today, we are joined by Kyle Harder, founder of See the Elephant Amaro. But before we get started, like, subscribe, hit the bells, the whistles. You know what to do. Leave a comment if you like what we're doing. It'll really help us push us in the algorithm. Let's get started. Bam. Kyle, thank you so much for joining me. Five drinks or midnight, five drinks, five questions, midnight, whatever comes first. How you doing today?
I'm great, Sam. Thanks for having me.
So excited. Big fans. I guess, what are we drinking first?
Well, first thing up is going to be a little See the Elephant Amaro. We're just going to drink this neat. So
Excellent.
here's the pack here. Get the bottle with me. I poured myself a little pour to join you.
Excellent. Not question one, but can you tell people at home that aren't familiar with See the Elephant on what it is and what you're all about?
Yeah, for sure. So See the Elephant is really it's a passion project. Kind of started about 8 years ago. I got really into Amaro. I was working in the spirits industry and really went down the rabbit hole of Amaro. Started drinking everything that I could get here in the United States, and then ended up traveling to Italy, trying a bunch of stuff that I couldn't get in the United States in Italy. And I just love it. I love how regional the different Amari are, the different ingredients, the kind of the how it becomes part of the drinking culture in Italy. And that's how I got into this.
Nice.
I actually my first attempt at Amaro was making my own at home. I had
Okay.
a walnut tree growing in my backyard, and I tried to make a Nucino, and it was drinkable, but it was not anything that I was planning to commercialize, or we wouldn't
Okay.
be here today speaking if we were drinking that. Yeah. And really, the thought was like I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to make an Amaro. But in my opinion, the Italians just do it best. They've got generations of history. I went to Italy again with a little bit of a different view on the trip, and was trying different Amari from all over the country, and kind of stumbled into an Amaro di Rucola, which is a rucola style Amaro. It's made from arugula. Has a really interesting taste profile to it because of that unique ingredient. It's a little on the sweeter side as
Yep.
Amari go. It's Amaro, beginner's Amaro or Amaro with training wheels. Um, it works really well as a digestif, but it also works well in a variety of cocktails, which we'll try here tonight. So yeah, about 3 years ago, I finally got to the point where I was importing See the Elephant Amaro, and now I'm sold in 15 states. So
That's fucking awesome.
things are going well, and just enjoying it because, like I said, it's a passion project. I love Amaro, and I love talking about it, and trying it in new cocktails, and just speaking to people about it.
That's awesome. Well, one, congratulations and cheers.
Yeah, thank
And
you. Cheers.
we'll dig in. So this is my first time, so I'm excited. So this is
Good. I'm excited to hear what you think and what kind of flavors.
that is just so awesome. And right when it showed up on my doorstep, I was super excited, but I was like, no, I have to wait to crack this. Like this has to go sit over there for a bit so that I don't open it.
It's always
All
nice
right.
to have a bottle in the archives that you're excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the packaging and the label. I can't take credit for that. It was a gentleman. His name is Cody Gunningham. He's a muralist from Cincinnati, Ohio, and
Okay.
he designed a few different bars in that part of the country. And I happened to be in one of them. It's a cocktail bar called Lost and Found in Cincinnati, And I was just so inspired being in that space. I reached out to him the next day. I said, dude, I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. I've got a lot of ideas for brands, but I know I love your work. I'd love to work with you one day. And then about 2 or 3 years later, I actually reached out to him and asked him about, coming up with a label design for See the Elephant. And he did. And really, it's a testament to his work and a little bit of the journey that we've been on together. Just kind of having that packaging represent the brand.
Fuck, that's awesome. All right, well, cheers.
What kind of flavor notes are you getting there?
Immediately root beer. Like it has like a almost like the hard barrel candies that
Yeah.
your grandma
Yeah.
used to have.
Yeah.
Like that, I'm getting that right off the bat, and it's blowing my mind because you said it's made with arugula.
Yeah. Uh, and so that's the first time that I had this. Yeah, I was in a small town of Ravello, and the label was a handwritten package. I asked for the most local, most unique thing that they had, and this is what they offered me. And I had a similar reaction. It was flavor notes that I haven't had from anything else. I didn't know what Amaro di Rucola was at the time. Took some
Yeah,
research to figure that out. And really, it was surprising. There really are some cool nostalgic flavor notes that in there that you don't get from any other spirit. A lot of people will tell me like a cotton candy or a bubble gum.
yep.
Here in Charleston, I'll walk into places and people don't know my name, but they'll say, "Oh, it's the bubblegum Amaro guy."
Well, there's worse things to be called, so I
Yeah,
guess.
for sure.
Oh, but it's so, you're right. It's very sweet. Like again, not being like I used to an Amaro, like you kind of thinking almost bittery, but like this is super sweet. But then it has a very nice like dryness to it at the end. Like there's something really nice about it. It's fucking glorious. I love this. This is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. And that's why. I mean, I came at this a little bit with I love Amaro, but there's no way I can outbitter a Fernet or a Chardonnay, right, or some of the other bitter Amari that are out there.
Sure.
That wasn't where I wanted to go. I was thinking about what's the best way to get more people excited about Amaro, as excited about it as I was. And if you start people off with something a little bit easier, like a See the Elephant, you're going to get people excited about the category.
Yeah.
More people will start drinking Amaro. And I think that that's a great thing because there's so many wonderful Amaris to try from Italy, from the United States, from all over the world.
Yeah. This is, now that you said bubblegum, like it's like Hubba Bubba. Like
There's gonna be a gunfight.
There's a brand new bubble gum in town. Name a Hubba Bubba.
like it's or like Big League Chew. Like it's
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, it is some nostalgic flavor notes like that barrel hard barrel candy, like the bubble gum from a pack of baseball cards with like
Yeah.
the dust on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm gonna pour a little bit more, but then I'm also gonna get into question one. So hold on here 1 second, because that's just really fucking good. All right, so question one, it's a little bit of an origin story. So you have 16 years of industry experience. I guess how did you get started in the industry? And then again, you kind of talked a little bit about how it came to be See the Elephant, but can you tell us a little bit of your origin story?
yeah, sure. So like I said, I've worked in the spirits industry for a while. I worked for a lot of the larger companies. You might not necessarily know the companies, but you know the brands. And I really got a good education when I was at those big companies. I started to work for smaller and smaller companies, and then eventually just said, why not go do this on my own? And that is what I've been doing, and having a lot of fun with it. Um, the what I love about the spirits industry are the people. You get to meet
Yep.
a lot of great people similar to yourself. Whether it's the bartenders, the distributors that I work with, retailers, everybody's in this because they love what they're doing, and that's one of the things that I really like about it. I enjoy it, and it's been even more so true working for myself because other business owners, whether you're a liquor store owner or managing a podcast, you can kind of relate to some of the
Yep.
struggles that you're going through. So it's been really great. And just the origin story of Amaro and kind of how I got into that was I've always enjoyed traveling, one, and then two, whenever I do travel, I like to try what is the most interesting, unique local thing that I can get my hands on.
Nice.
And that's kind of how I first started drinking Amaro, and working in the spirits industry, going out to dinner, having a nightcap, I would finish with an Amaro, and that was just kind of my thing. And tried a lot of the different brands, and realized that there was an opportunity in Amaro. Amaro's a growing category, and folks who like Amaro, like myself, don't just have one brand; you have 30 of them.
Yeah.
And I had never had anything that was made from arugula before. There is one other brand that I'm familiar with called Rucolino. That's also an Amaro di Rucola, and it has that similar kind of flavor note in there, like an eggnog or bubblegum, root beer. So you know exactly the science behind it on how an arugula-based Amaro produces that flavor note. You probably have to ask Dave Arnold or somebody like that to give you the right answer. But yeah, it is really interesting flavor note and that you don't get from other spirits.
Nice. And then is this drank the same way in Italy as you intend it to here in the States, or is there like
Somewhat.
okay.
Somewhat. I would say that the U.S. market is much further along in using Amaro as a cocktail ingredient or
Okay.
modifier than the rest of the world. I think there's some markets in Europe that are starting to use Amari more frequently in cocktails and flavor development. And I think that's a great thing. But really, it's the Americans who have led the charge on going beyond Amaro just being a digestif and it really being something that
Nice.
can be used in a variety of cocktails.
Nice. Because when we interviewed like Edward Bronca, he talked about like how Fernet was drank like kind of older people in Italy and would drink it like in the afternoon with like coffee and stuff. But then there
Yeah.
was like old ladies that made like a soup out of it, and it's just one of those things. Like I just
Yeah.
find it cultures are really awesome.
Yeah.
And two, I really love that like this became a passion project, a hobby, if you will, to an actual full development. Uh, what were some of the challenges that you faced building out this brand?
Sure. I mean, still facing them.
Yeah,
I'm a small player in a small category, and the hardest part is just getting the brand to shelf. Really, there's a variety. Every in the United States, we operate in the three-tier distribution system, and every state is might as well be its own country in terms of getting set up and starting to operate and finding a distributor and partnering and getting the product to their warehouse and then getting it to shelf. And I think that that's probably one thing that most consumers and even people in the industry don't fully understand is like there's right now in Italy, there's somebody who's got some glass and they're making a liquid and they're going to put it in the bottle and it's going to go on a boat and you can kind of track it like a delivery map, like the boat coming across the ocean and it lands in port in Newark, New Jersey and goes to my warehouse and then I ship it all over the country and then it ends up on a liquor store shelf and then finally here we are sipping Amaro. And it takes a lot to make that happen. And fortunately, and one of the reasons why my experience has been valuable is that you are able to avoid some of those pitfalls and mistakes that I would have made had I not had the experience. So, yeah, man, I'd say the hardest part is just getting the bottle to shelf because whenever I meet with people and have that initial conversation, there's a lot of love for the taste, the liquid, and making cocktails with it. I haven't had anyone yet tell me that they don't like See the Elephant. So maybe they're just being nice, but I think it's a damn good product.
I think again, it was not at all what I expected, but it is really fucking awesome. So, and I mean, I think that's an awesome origin story. So that's question one. So cheers.
Cheers.
Question two, drink two. What are we drinking?
We've got the Gold Prospector.
Awesome.
And there's a good little story that I'm sure we'll get into, goes along with this one.
I mean, I love, you're the first guest that I've had that had sent me alternatives. Like, so this is like, you gave me way too many choices. I felt like, because I usually tell everybody, I'm like, you bring the question, or I bring the questions, you bring the drinks.
Sure,
and they
sure.
always say, like, it's so hard to choose just 5 drinks. And I was like, you're the first guest to kind of turn it back on me and be like, you pick. And I'm like, fucker, that's what your job. Like, but yeah, so I'm so excited. Like this, like I read this one and I'm like, you got Tim in a glass right off the bat. So I'm excited. I'm a big rye guy and this just sounded amazing. So could you tell us the story of what the Gold Prospector is?
Yeah, it really is connected to the brand name. You know, people often ask, you know, why See the Elephant? It's Italian Amaro. But it's called See the Elephant. I don't get it. And it really it dates back to the early 1800s. So when I first started the idea, the origin story of See the Elephant, I was living in New York City at the time, so I wanted to have a New York City connection to what I was working on. See the Elephant, when the very first elephant was in New York City, people from all over the country were traveling to go see it. And back then, we didn't have TikTok or Instagram or those things. It was newspapers. And journalists were interviewing folks who had gone to see the elephant or planning to go see the elephant. And that phrase kept being used over and over in newspapers across the country. See the elephant, see the elephant. So it became used more colloquially and not just in the newspapers. Whenever you go out into the world to see something with your own eyes, you would say you're going to see the elephant.
Awesome.
And a good example of that is when people were traveling west to California to go look for gold. They would say, "Hey, hey, Ma, hey, Dad, I'm going to see the elephant. Right, I'm going to California. I got to stake my claim. I'm a gold prospector. And,
all right.
I'm going to see the elephant." For me, it was going to Italy to find this Amaro. That was my journey to see the elephant. But
that's fucking awesome.
That's why we're drinking a Gold Prospector.
That's fucking awesome. I love that. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, that is fucking good. That is
really good.
Oh,
it's one of my new favorites. It's simple. You know, you always have the ingredients. You know, it's not like you got to make a bunch of syrups or something crazy.
Right.
And it's nice and balanced, and you can taste all of the spirits, and even though they're kind of all blended in there, it works. I love it.
Yeah, that's
especially for the fall. It's a nice fall cocktail.
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, it's getting into the 60s here in New York, so like this is nice. Like the windows are open, but that's just a great fucking sipper. And I love it. Yeah, like because it's rye, See the Elephant, mezcal, simple, and orange bitters or Angostura bitters.
Yeah,
like everybody has that at home, so it's super easy to make and just with that rye and then the mezcal and it fucking sings. It's I'm gonna be making that one.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a winter one to.
Yeah, this is one where I wish we were in person for because. It would hit a little bit different.
Yeah, that is.
Yes, stake your claim on it and go look for that gold there, Tim.
Exactly.
Go see the elephant.
Go see the elephant. Well, so you kind of answered my question too, which was, what does the name mean? And so you nailed it in the story, which is amazing. But also one of the things that you have is you guys talk about how you are made from where history and myth collide. Can you kind of talk about where like that kind of aspect comes into the brand and how that applies to your marketing and everything that you've created?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you picked up on that. So the town where See the Elephant is made is a small town of Agropoli. It's in southern Italy, about an hour south of Amalfi. and it's a really beautiful place. And right next to Agropoli is the old city of Pestrum. Pestrum is, for all intents and purposes, the oldest city in the world. They had a population of about 150,000. This is going back like 700 BC. They invented highways, they invented schools, they invented bathing. Like, they were inventing things that they needed, but also, things that are foundational to modern civilization. The folks who lived in this old city of Pestrum were doing, and it's really cool. So some of the pictures that are on my website or on my social media accounts are historic landmarks, and Greek and Roman artifacts from the city of Pestrum. Just beautiful place, tons of history, and it. When you're there and you're walking around, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna create this big Amaro brand. It's gonna be awesome, and then you're reminded quickly of how small you are in the span of history. And so there's some, that's the kind of the history component. And also I think that there's a lot of the language that's used with See the Elephant is meant to be kind of romantic and poetic, and really play into that and some of that mystical nature of what I think is a part of a lot of Amari brands is, they might tell you what 2 of the ingredients are, or 10 of the ingredients, but you rarely get the full picture. So there's a lot of mystery still. And some of it gets lost to history. So there's a lot of that balance of mystery, history, in the physical space, but also in Amaro. And I really like that. Even with See the Elephant, arugula is the main ingredient, and that's primarily what is used, but there's also some other herbs and spices in there, and that's the family's secret recipe that is not disclosed.
Nice.
This is the mystery.
That's awesome. And two, wasn't that the city? So, like, I think on the site you talked about how like Poseidon and Athena's temples were there, which has kind of gotten a little bit more of the magic and mysticism that also you apply into See the Elephant.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like in that part of the world. I mean, you think of, like, we're talking about going back more than 2,000 years. Like, yeah, there's a lot of intermingling of Greek and Roman culture and empires at the time. So, there's definitely is a lot of that, and there's that mysticism and poetic nature is definitely woven into the brand and into the place where this comes from. So hopefully you get a little bit of that mystery when you're closing your eyes and you're thinking about your trip to Italy, or what life was like 2,000 years ago when people were drinking whatever they were drinking back in Pestum.
Well, I think you created the modern day ambrosia, if you will, because it is damn good. Just one more follow up question then. Like, who or what kind of, like, how do you get your inspiration? Is it like, was there somebody that turned you on to Amaros, or like where does the inspiration to create your own company come from?
A lot of it is internal, is driven by my passion, but all of my passion and my desires to go do something come from external forces. And where that comes from is one, being inspired by the artwork, both old and new, and then bringing that as an idea of, hey, I really want this to be an art forward brand that represents kind of what consumers are looking for today, and sharing that vision with someone like Cody, who can translate that into a custom piece of artwork that's getting used on the label. But also, the very first time I really got into Amaro was reading Brad Thomas Parsons' book on Amaro. And so that was definitely an inspiration to me, and he still is. And having him even be aware of See the Elephant, and he's got a bottle on his shelf at home. So that is super meaningful to me. And his insights into flavor notes and Italian drinking culture, and different styles of Amari, and I've been to all of his talks. That really, I've internalized a lot of that from an external source, and now it's coming out in kind of my filter of what what I think this new brand can or should be.
That's
And
awesome.
so, yeah, and I think there's a lot of external inputs that hopefully I'm translating into my own language, and what you're seeing now through See the Elephant is a manifestation of that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Question 2 in the can. Band-Aids ripped off. Trains leaving the station. This is fucking awesome. So cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Question 3 and drink 3. What are we drinking?
We've got a Buck the Elephant.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, that ginger beer changes the full flavor profile.
It does, yeah. It's nice. It's nice also when you're having 5 cocktails made with See the Elephant to have a little bit of a highball in the mix, right in the middle. Yeah,
Wow. Fuck. Wow. Okay.
it
I mean, I
works.
like it.
Right?
Yeah, it works great, but like
I
it's just
I love this. This is what I was drinking all summer.
yeah. From the first 2 drinks, it's just like it's hard to imagine that this is just the same thing. But that's fucking good. Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet that's nice all summer long. Like that's, and again, you're in North Carolina, right? Like that's
South Carolina, but
South
yeah,
Carolina. Sorry, but not that it gets too much. Like not like a New York winter, so you can drink these all year round. So like
yeah.
that's
And I will. Yeah,
because it just brings out different. Like I'm trying to wrap my head around because it's almost like a different taste or like the sweetness is there, but it's a different sweetness. So like it's
yeah. I mean, the ginger beer, and the other cool thing is you use different brands of ginger beer. It also changes the flavor profile of the cocktail. But I really like this one because there's that bite from the ginger that really balances well with the See the Elephant, and those two things just work well. I also
yeah,
love just using fresh lime, squeezing half of a lime in there, and that brightness from the citrus. The whole
yeah,
thing just really balances nicely and works well.
yeah. That's fucking nice. Oh, I love it. All right. So question 3, we call this our talking shit segment because we've had 3 drinks, so we're a little bit more open and a little bit more friendlier. But okay. So question 3. So Amaro has grown exponentially here in the States over the past couple of years. What role do you think See the Elephant plays in the future of Amaro?
For sure. I'd like to think that See the Elephant, and one of the reasons why I believe that this taste profile, being on the sweeter side as Amari go, is a good thing for the overall Amaro category. You got more people who are, oh, what's that bottle on the shelf? Or I've never had an Amaro before, and they might be a little bit timid about it, and that's okay. But starting somebody off with a See the Elephant is going to be a great way to introduce them to Amaro. And hey, this is made from arugula. There's a lot of other Amari that are out there that are made from rhubarb and artichokes and other ingredients that have really interesting taste profiles. So I believe that it's bringing more people in. And one of the really interesting, I was just reading a report this week, the the top 50 cocktail bars in the world that did an assessment of all of the ingredients that are on all of their cocktails. And the number one ingredient at the top 50 bars in the world is Amaro.
These are facts, historical facts.
Those are just the top 50 bars. So, if you think about where are we at on the life cycle of Amaro, and where is the category going? If it's in the top 50 places and they're using it in a lot or most of their cocktails, I have to believe that other places are going to say, starting to play copycat on the top 50 bars and
Of course.
using more Amari in their cocktails. So I think it's a really good thing. I think that especially when you pair that up with younger millennial consumers who are looking to try different things, looking to be more unique, more interesting. That's why I got into it. Amaro is a perfect category. It's you can bring a bottle of See the Elephant to a dinner party or over to Thanksgiving dinner and share it with your family, and everyone's like, "Oh, what's that?" And you get to tell them about, "Oh, it's made from arugula. It comes from Italy, and it's amazing, and you got to try it or make cocktails." And it's fun, and it doesn't have to be as serious as something else, some other spirits categories. So, I think there's a long runway still ahead for Amaro, and I think that See the Elephant's role in the growth of the overall Amaro category is going to be bringing more new consumers into the category so they can explore some of the other great Amari that are out there.
Nice. When you guys do tastings, because again, you said that you do a lot of tastings. You're referred to as the bubblegum guy, and that no one's told you they didn't like it. Like, how do you approach a tasting when, like, do you bring in like a bunch of people, sit them down and do tastes, or do you do a comparative? Like, how do you like get people hooked in? Because you talked about like how this is like the starter whiskey, which I'm going to disagree with you, because I just think that this is even way better than, this isn't starter. This is just a different flavor profile. And
But all fair points. Yeah, I mean, so um, yeah, getting people to try See the Elephant is one of the best marketing tools that I think that I have, right? So whether that's standing in a liquor store and sampling people for 3 hours, or going to a food and wine festival and at a table, going to whiskey festivals, finding places. There's not yet an Amaro festival. There are Italian drinking festivals, and there's other things that are kind of close that I've participated in. You've got Bar Convent Brooklyn, which is a
Yep.
great event to be at, especially for something like See the Elephant. But
I saw that you were there this year, and I'm very sorry we missed each other, because that would have been.
Next year we'll connect. Next year we can.
Yes.
But yeah, that's really the best way for me to because when you hear arugula, you don't know what Amaro is. You're like, guard is up, right? And then if you get someone to try it, it's like, whoa, this is like, that's really good. I could use this a lot of different ways. Like, maybe I'll make a Buck the Elephant, and that's my new favorite cocktail. Yeah, I mean, just getting people to try it, and I think opening up their imagination on what an Amaro can be and how it can be used. It doesn't only need to be a digestif that you have at the end of a meal. There's a lot of great ways to use it in a cocktail.
I totally agree. Like, again, you most likely have a very difficult sell at first, but as soon as that first, liquid to lips, if you will, kind of moment happens, they're immediately hooked. So like, it has to be like, but yeah, if all of a sudden you came up to me and said, I got an Amaro made of an arugula, and I'm like, I would probably be like, what? And then try it, just because I like weird shit. But like, that would be like and then I'd be hooked, which I am. But
and then there's also when you're in a liquor store, especially one that is a big supporter of the Amaro category, and they have, hey, I've already got 50 Amari here. Why do I need yours? Which is a question that I've gotten before. I was like, well, you don't have one made from arugula, do you?
Exactly.
And I'm like, they pick their eyes up from their books or, their order sheet, whatever they're working on. And they're like, oh, I guess I got to try that.
Yeah.
And then we have a 30-minute conversation about Amaro, and I ended up leaving the store with an order for 6 bottles. So it works.
Perfect. Fucking awesome. I was going to say, has there ever been like a reaction of like giving it to somebody that stands out? Like, because I can imagine that there's probably some really weird, like, how Fernet has the bartender face, and like Merlot has their Merlot face, and like, it's just like everybody has kind of that idea of like, you shoot the Amaro and they want to see you make that face, whereas you don't get that from this. Like, this is a happy face.
It's a really interesting. I haven't really thought of that, but that's really interesting, because like the most common reaction that I get is like the sip, and it's like, oh, damn, fuck, that's good. Like, it's the reaction that you had when we had our first drink. It's
exactly.
Like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah, because that mostly like like they call the Fernet the bartender's handshake, but again, it was like you gave it to your friends to see them make that face. Like that's the thing, and like that's where like they sell you like those little ounce bottles of it like different Amaros and you crack them and do the shot of it, and it just to see that face. Whereas like this is a first sip and I'm happy. I'm like, oh, this is really great. Like that's fucking like I was wondering if like has there ever been that kind of reaction other than myself?
Yeah, no, there's not like one reaction that stands out, but it's a lot of people who are. I think it's surprise.
Yeah,
It's an understanding, a beginning of an understanding that not all Amaro needs to be bitter or a challenge or
right.
a wow, like surprise face in a good way, not surprise face in a
In a bad way.
yeah
Yeah.
in another way.
And then you said that it is a family recipe. Like, does it go back generations, or is it like
It does, yeah. It's so the producers. So I partnered with the producers, and their third generation. Antonio is the grandson. His mom Patricia. Patricia is really the one who developed the spirits recipes. It was her
okay,
mother's recipes, and they were primarily making them for their family.
nice?
And their business is mainly a wine business.
Okay,
Patricia is the one who started to develop and commercialize the spirits side of their business and liqueurs, and now Antonio, third generation, is the one who's expanding globally, and I'm one of their first producer suppliers here in the United States. So it's a really nice partnership. They're a beautiful family, great people. And it's a small business, so it's really a pleasure to work with them. And it's just Patricia is the one. So the arugula rests in a grain neutral spirit for 2 to 3 weeks.
okay.
And there's Patricia is the one who's saying like, oh, is it 2 weeks in a day? Is it 2 weeks in 3 days? It depends on the arugula crop and a variety of other factors. Arugula grows 11 months of the year in agropoly, so I wasn't thinking about this when I first started, but if I want to order in November or in June, it sort of doesn't matter because
Yeah,
arugula grows roughly year round, which is a really good thing. But yeah, it's a small operation, third generation, and this is where I think the Italians have it figured out more than anyone else. There's a lot of great Amari that are produced in the United States and other places outside of Italy, but because the Italians have been doing it for generations, they are able to figure out how to layer the flavors. So as the arugula is resting in the grain neutral spirit for 2 to 3 weeks, the other herbs and spices are being added and taken out for days, for hours, as the recipe calls for. And
oh wow.
that level of precision is not something that other producers have figured out the way that the Italians have.
Again, you had a hobby. You had a hobby. You went to Italy. You did it. You brought it back. It's fucking awesome, and it's a damn good product, and it just
Thank you, Tony.
really
Thank you.
fucking awesome. Like it just
In having these conversations is like to an earlier question you had asked, like why do I do it, or like it's the people in the business, and watching somebody react in a way like you are to see the elephant is what gets me excited.
yeah,
So
just
tomorrow I'm going to keep going and keep
yeah.
making these introductions and sharing this brand because I love it, and I love seeing people react to it the way that you do.
Well, there we go. We didn't talk any shit, and that's question 3. But this is just really fucking good. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Question 4, drink 4. What are we drinking?
We've got a Black Manhattan.
Woo! Yes, we do. Cheers.
Cheers.
Boom. Oh, fuck yeah. Wow. Okay.
Makes a damn good Black Manhattan.
That sure does. Wow. Very sorry. I think I lied to you. We said the Gold Prospector was going to be the winter drink, but wow, this is.
Yeah, it's my personal favorite. That's what I make at home when I need to see the elephant cocktail. This is what I'm making.
Fuck, wow. That is nice. Mm, that, oh, nope, that's it. That's no bullshit right there. That is a fucking great drink.
Yeah,
Wow.
the great part about a Black Manhattan too is they're starting to show up on more and more menus across the country. So I don't know, maybe 5 years ago it used to be something you would need to call for, but now
Yeah.
you're starting to see them on a lot of menus and places you otherwise wouldn't normally see a Black Manhattan. So that's great. That's one of the things why we talk about the growth of Amaro. It's definitely starting to pop up in more places, and I think a Black Manhattan cocktail is one of the ones that's leading the way. And there's no better way to make it than with See the Elephant.
I agree. Wow. That is, no. I mean, a Black Manhattan is just beautiful and like it's whiskey weather kind of season, but now this is just, oh, mm, fuck yeah. Wow. You just made me very happy. So that is just,
I'm
but
glad to
all
hear
right.
that, son.
Yeah, that is, fuck, that is really good. I mean, no bullshit. Like that, honestly, like everybody at home should make one of these right now. Like fucking order it
Yeah,
up and
go
just,
make one.
I mean, just not even question four, but like what rye did you use to make yours?
I actually used bourbon tonight to make
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah. I so there's a I don't have the bottle with me here, but as a local bourbon distillery, I haven't made a Black Manhattan with bourbon in a long time, and so I figured why not mix it
Okay.
up. I just was talking about how you can use bourbon instead of rye earlier, so I did that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Beyond Distilling. So I'm using their Beyond Distilling local distillery here in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm using their bourbon and See the Elephant, and it works really well.
So with that bourbon that you like, is there a reason why you went with that bourbon?
Um, it's local here.
Okay.
It's the bourbon that I have open right now.
Well,
I'm very like I don't know. I'm not sure if it's methodical or like I have a system. Like I have a bourbon that's open. Like that's the one I'm drinking, and like
gotcha.
I have one that I actually have two open. I have one that I'm pouring neat, and I have
Okay.
one that I'm using for cocktails, and that's just the Beyond Distilling bourbon is what I'm using in my cocktails right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I just was wondering if like you're like this is the bourbon I use when I'm
yeah,
pouring that style, or if this is the rye I because you know the flavor profile. So like it'd be
yeah.
like we
Um,
use this rye or I use this bourbon. So
I would say like if I were to give you my favorite way to make the Black Manhattan cocktail, I would say Russell's Reserve 5 year rye. Like their rye is, I think, is great. It's a fair price point
okay,
to make a great rye. It works awesome in this cocktail. That's the one I would tell you.
all right,
That would be a good one. Um, and then for a bourbon, yeah, Beyond Distilling, they make a really nice product. So I would highly recommend that. Um, the I've seen a lot of bartenders using Bullet.
mm,
It's widely available, and I think in this cocktail, Bullet works really well too, both the bourbon and the rye, just depending on which flavor profile you're looking for.
well, all right. So question four. It's our second to last drink, second to last question. Get a little bit more inspirational. So, what's next for you guys? Is there new products, expansions, partnerships? Like you said, you talked about how we're in 15 states. We already know world domination is right around the corner because this is just too fucking good to only sit in 15 states. So, I guess what's next?
Yeah, all the above.
All right.
All the above. Um, yeah, I mean, and I'll try and I'll take some of this into pieces here, but they're the family that produces See the Elephant also produces some other really great liqueurs. And one of the questions is, do you create a new brand with something else, or do you carry it under the See the Elephant brand? So that's
Yeah.
conversations that I'm having right now and thinking about. They make a really nice olive leaf Amaro, and I've
Okay.
never heard of an olive leaf Amaro before.
Same.
It's kind of like it looks like Nanino, but it's like really light and delicate, kind of almost floral, but it's not vegetal.
Okay.
Anyway, very interesting. So, thinking about that in terms of something new from Italy, from the same producer, kind of close to home. And then some of the other things that I'm thinking about. So I'm an importer. It's kind of my business, and so I'm thinking about what else in the world. See the Elephant is working and is doing well, and what else could we do? Are there some Mexican liqueurs or Austrian liqueurs or Portuguese amarguinha, almond liqueurs? So thinking about what else in the world in liqueur space could be interesting, and starting to try some things and see what else is next there. In terms of new markets, Ohio is just coming online. It launched
Nice.
on October 1st, so I'm super pumped about that one because the guy that designed the label, Cody, is from Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's a good reason to be in Ohio.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll be doing a launch event there in mid-November. So for anyone who is listening who lives in Southern Ohio, please come out in mid-November.
Nice.
Keep an eye on See the Elephant for, for more info. But those are just kind of some of the new things coming up. And yeah, I mean, I definitely want to be in all 50 states. One of the really interesting things is where people are drinking Amaro, and this is per capita, but surprising to me was Burlington, Vermont is one that's way up there in terms of
Okay.
their consumption. Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington. So going out to the West Coast is some different business challenges. Just getting product out that far west it can be challenging. But I'm going to figure it out next year, and we'll have See the Elephant in all across the country by the end of next year, no doubt.
Nice. Fuck yeah, and well deserved, because we cannot deny the public this beautiful drink. So
And you can order it from my website. So I'm able to through some retail partnerships, I'm able to ship product to 46 states.
let's say it's 10 years down the line. What kind of legacy are you looking for this brand to have?
You know what? No one has ever asked me that. I appreciate the question. I'd say it's not so much a legacy that I want um, the brand to have. I think it's about, well, maybe for the brand it would be just continuing to encourage people to try new things,
Okay.
and to go beyond reading about them or watching an Instagram story, but really go to the place where they're made. If you love something, go to the place where it's made. If you want to see the art, go to the museum where it's being shown and see it in person, because those in-person experiences, I think, are really impactful. So I think if See the Elephant can leave a legacy on that front, it would be to inspire people to go out into the world, to see something, to go do it, to see it with your own eyes, to be true to going to see the elephant.
Nice.
And then as a business, I would say, I'd love for, I've got 2 kids, so I'd love for them to be running the business and, managing this 50 years from now. And, dad can just give them a few tips from the sidelines.
Nice. I love that. That's fucking awesome. I because again, back in the day, it was like a taboo to be in the liquor world, and now being like, I want my kids to take over my liquor empire. That's the fucking coolest. I just love that. I think that is so, especially on something that you've built, it again, a hobby to passion to actual job, or I guess, do you even consider it like a job, or is it still hobby for you that you just get paid for, or is
Yeah, I
it?
mean, it's somewhere in between. It's it is it never feels like a job. I mean, even I don't know, when you're doing something like accounting, and you're counting numbers, you realize at the end of the day, what you're counting is bottles, and each
Right,
bottle
right.
is tells a story, and it's somebody's hard work for harvesting the arugula. And that's one of the things. One of my very first jobs was I worked in a milk plant, and we made a product and we sold it, and it was a lot of hard work, and people got to enjoy a great product. And so I've seen the agricultural side of making something, and so I really appreciate that. And I think that that's one of the things that gets me excited. It gets me out of bed every day. Is that there's a lot of hard work and being able that goes into making
Oh,
Amaros
absolutely.
and anything that involves anything agricultural. And so that keeps me motivated to continue to sell and to share this with people and have more people try it and yeah, that's where it doesn't feel like a job because it's just this is my role in what it takes to go from arugula growing in soil in Italy to making a cocktail here in Charleston or in New York City.
Yeah, and again, no, I did not mean disrespect of saying that it's not hard work. Trust me, I know how hard it is. It's just like, again, even it being a hobby, I understand how hard of work it is. It's just we've interviewed guests and being like, I haven't worked in 15 years. Like, this is what I love to do, kind of thing. Or they'll be like, don't ever do this. This is a lot of work and it kind of ruined my passion. So like, I just was wondering if it's
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between.
okay.
Like it's a lot of hard work, but like if it were easy, then I probably wouldn't
Everybody
be
would do
doing
it.
it. Well, not even that. Like I don't like to do things that are easy. Like I'm glutton for punishment. I don't know. It's just if it were easy and it didn't require a lot of complexity and moving parts, it wouldn't be challenging, and I would probably lose focus or interest and move on to something that was more challenging. But yeah, this is a really good balance for me, and it works.
All right. Well, there we go. Question 4. Cheers. So, question 5, drink 5, last drink of the night. What are we drinking?
We're drinking the Sarsaparilla Seeker.
I like it. That, again, another complete different flavor profile. Like, from that very first sip, just with the sarsaparilla-ness and just kind of coming through and like, oh.
Yeah, I mean the reason the story behind this one is a chef, um, occasionally and as I'm pitching bars and restaurants, the chef will get involved either because he's a personal fan of Amaro or he tastes things, or maybe he's looking for an Amaro to work into his dessert program, whatever. So in this particular conversation, the chef was involved and he's like, oh, it's root beer. Like
Yeah.
it's like maybe a good answer to your question. Your earlier question is there any crazy reactions? But it wasn't so much crazy. It was just he got root beer right away.
Yeah.
And he came up to me afterwards and he says, have you ever tried making like a root beer cocktail? Like, like people mix a lot of different Amari with cola. And maybe this could be like a nice way for you to mix yours. And I said, I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to try it as soon as I get home tonight. So, the Sarsaparilla Seeker, go out and see the elephant and you can see it with a little bit of root beer.
Yeah. No, that's fucking awesome. Like, it seems like everybody right now kind of like everybody that I talk to seems to they want to get in the soda business and they want to start making sodas. And I think that like you could make a really fucking great soda with See the Elephant. Like that would be fucking awesome. Like that.
Yeah, that would.
I mean, just with that flavor alone, like the bubble gum, the like 80s, like I think there was like Hubba Bubba soda like in the 80s. Like I'm sure there has to be some sort of bubblegum soda kind of thing. Like or like, yeah, the root beer, like that just
Bazooka Pop. I'm in for it.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. So question 5 comes down to the flip of the Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can flip it, you can spin it, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to answer. The coin will give us the answer. But if you do feel so inclined to answer, we appreciate you adding on to the answer. But question 5, have you seen the elephant?
All right, I'm going to give it a spin here.
Right.
Fuck yeah, I've seen the elephant.
Fuck yeah, you have.
Yeah.
I love it. It's just a simple way. But again, throughout your story, I think the idea of taking that adventure head on and seeing it and just embracing life is just not only a great brand story, but just words that people should fucking live by. So like, I'm so glad you joined us. So again, thank you for that. So cheers.
You are welcome, and thank you, Tim. This is, I've seen a lot of your episodes. What you do and the guests you have on are great to watch, and I'll continue watching. So really appreciate what you do too. Thank you.
No, thank you. Anything else before we say goodnight? Anything else you want to tell people at home about See the Elephant?
Yeah, I mean the brand is available, and you can find it in some of your favorite bottle shops. In the 15 states that I'm sold in. Please come check the brand out on the website, which is elephantamaro.com. Also active on Instagram. You can find us there, Elephant Amaro. Feel free to reach out with any questions. I'm the man behind the brand. If you want to know more about anything we've talked about here tonight, cocktail ideas, the production, the story of the brand, anything, feel free to DM me on Instagram or email me, info@elephantamaro.com. Happy to chat. If you want to just talk Amaro and have a cocktail and hop on a Zoom, happy to do that as well. But this has been a lot of fun, so thank you.
And I totally recommend it. Like that fucking drinks were amazing tonight. All right, Kyle, that is 5 drinks down, 5 questions answered. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I loved learning about See the Elephant tonight. Thank you again. I tell this to everybody. When you're in New York, let's grab a drink. Let's really crush some Black Manhattans because, like you said, they happen way different in person than they do over this. So thank you again. I appreciate your time, and thank you. So cheers to you.
Thank you, Tim. Cheers. Grazie.